totally private navigation in the car. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Now, before beginning this, I do not personally navigate this way, even though I do not use a smartphone for car navigation, nor do I use an infotainment system. I use a Garmin and do not have it connected to my smartphone, Bluetooth connected that is, but even with all that in check, I know I'm still being tracked. We'll get to that in a minute. But let's say you have decided, okay, I am no longer using infotainment, nor am I using my phone to navigate with. I want total privacy. When I navigate, how do I do it? This is how you do it. Step 1, get a Garmin. 2597 LMT is a good choice if you search for Garmin Nuvi on eBay. There's a bunch of them. You can get, like this one for example, comes with everything. You get your charger, you get the unit, you get the suction mount, you get the mounting clip, you get a USB cord. But we're not done with that yet, because you also got to get yourself a 32 gigabyte card so you can put the map data on. Do you use Garmin Express to update with? No. No. Because if you do, whether you register your Garmin GPS or not, you have the option. But even if you don't, Garmin is then made aware you exist. So you can't update it. You can't. If you want to go the complete total privacy route, you can't touch this stuff. You can't. You have to take your Nuvi as is. Now you're saying, okay, fine, I can deal with that. How do I get my maps? You go to openmapchest.org and you have to go and download your map data of choice. I have videos on this. You can go look at them if you like. Then you can update your Nuvi 2597 with OpenStreetMap data. Okay. Alright, so we've crossed the hurdle where we've got our Nuvi, we've got our memory card, we have skipped using any software from Garmin. We can get our map data, which by the way is downloaded via torrent, and there's no tracking going. I mean, yes, there is technically tracking with torrent download. They all work that way, but your personal data at no point is being transmitted. So, and by the way, with the Garmin thing, personal data is not transmitted either, but Garmin is a big corporation, whereas OpenMapChest is obviously not. So, but there's one thing left. Okay, let's just say you've done all that. Nuvi, memory card, map data. Well, what's left? Well, your phone, of course. It's like, well, wait a minute. I've turned my data off. I've turned my location off. Doesn't matter. You're still being tracked. Because what happens is that anywhere you go with a modern smartphone, anywhere, all that location data is kept. It has to, in order to get cell phone service. And periodic, and the moment you turn data back on, whether Wi-Fi or mobile data, it's transmitted. That's just the way it is. Unless you get a phone with a removable battery. That is the very last step. It means that whenever you get in the car and you're going to go somewhere, you have to take the battery out of your phone, and then there is absolutely no way it is tracking anything. It's not possible. This is the point where most of you who are watching this will realize, uh-oh, I have a phone with a non-removable battery, like an iPhone, or many Samsung Galaxy models. Now, if you go online and you search for phone with removable battery, you will see, for example, Moto E6, and there is a Samsung Galaxy that has a removable battery, LG, Nokia, one from TracFone here. You know, there's not many, right? It says it right here. Removable batteries exist. You just have to know where to look. Now, some people will say, well, okay, I can get what's called a Faraday cage, whereas you know those phones that supposedly block signals. You can just put your phone in a bag and then seal it, and then it's not transmitting anything. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Anyone that says it works, no, I don't believe them. And you know why I know this? Because I've actually tested this myself. Now, I actually know the way in order to do that. It is a decidedly annoying process because you have to go and get, as a matter of fact, I'll show you. I think this is it. Yeah, okay. Copper tape. If you take, this is used for shielding guitar pickups. Not the pickups themselves, but if on electric guitars, if you want to decrease noise that pickups make, because they are microphones, basically, you take off a pick guard if the guitar has one, and you take the bottom of it and you put copper shielding tape on it. Now, if you take copper shielding tape and you take two the Ziploc, I hate using brand name, but you know what a Ziploc bag is? One of those. You take a Ziploc, two of them. You wrap the first one in copper shielding tape, then you take another one in copper shielding tape. So you put the phone in the first bag and fold it over and then put it into the second bag, and that mostly guarantees that all signals will be blocked. Mostly, not always, because phones have a very good way of trying to keep the signal alive. They're designed to. Okay? And it's not always guaranteed to work, but what is guaranteed to work, to absolutely not transmit nor record a thing, is if you have a phone that has a battery you can take out. It's the only guaranteed way to do it. So, total private, and then I'll actually, before continuing that thought, this is the one thing I will not do, because it's just annoying to do it. Yes, I could go buy a phone with a removable battery. Yes, I could. Do I want to? No, I don't. Now, I already, when I'm driving, my mobile data is turned off. Not so much for privacy, actually not for privacy reasons at all. It's just because I don't want the phone bleeping and blooping at me. As a matter of fact, most of the time I put it in airplane mode when I'm driving. I don't want to be distracted, because distracted driving leads to an accident. It's not worth it. So, but if I was so concerned about my privacy when driving, okay, I would go get a phone with a removable battery, and then every time I start driving, the battery would come out, and then I would not reinsert the battery until I got back to my home. That is the way I would do it. But here's the other thing, too. Are you still totally private? Do you still have total private navigation at that point? Mostly? It's like, okay, well, you'd say, man, what's left? You've done everything. You've got the Garmin. You've got the OpenStreetMap. You got the phone with the removable battery. What could possibly what could track you at that point? Well, traffic cameras will, sir or ma'am. Yes. They will read license plates or registration stickers or whatever. So, I mean, when you take into account how many cameras are out there, not only in intersections, but on highways, in stores, everywhere, to actually be 100. Now, that doesn't count for navigation. That's more for just privacy in general. But to be completely, totally private, you have to only drive on roads where you know there are no cameras. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot you have to do with this. Now, you don't have to go to those extremes, obviously. But it's just an interesting thing to think about. It's like, okay, if I want to navigate privately, I don't want my information shared, how do I do it? Well, I showed you how to do it. I don't use OpenStreetMap. I don't have to, because Garmin is still offering lifetime maps. All my Garmin units are registered with Garmin. And there's a reason I do that. The reason is so I can continue to receive software firmware support for it. That's why. because I want to keep these things updated for time zone map updates and such. So even beyond just the map data, that's another reason to use Garmin Express for that. And for the phone, I don't run with data on it. And again, I mostly drive with airplane mode on, but I know that it's always polling the towers, so to speak, to get its location data. And then as soon as the phone is reconnected to data back, Wi-Fi back at the house, yes, it's going to transmit the data. It's just where? Who knows? But I know it's going to do it. I have just learned to accept that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you're like super privacy conscious and you're like, okay, what more can I do besides just getting the Garmin? Well, consider switching over to a phone with a removable battery. Yeah. Oh, this is the last thing I'll say. Yes, there are phones that supposedly are de-Googled. I've seen them. They're not cheap. And I don't really think that... No. It would be easier just to get a phone with a removable battery. It's easier if you're just that conscious about it. So, you got to just think about it. So there you go. Just a little opinion video by me, if you will, with a little bit of tutorial information in it. See y'all later.